Travis Kelce spends more than $13,000 on lavish Valentine's gifts for Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce didn't spare much expense on his Valentine's Day gifts for Taylor Swift. The Chiefs superstar tight end reportedly splashed more than $13,000 on gifts for Swift, just days after winning Super Bowl 2024 and partying in Las Vegas. Swift, who jetted back to America and traveled to Las Vegas from Tokyo for Super Bowl 2024 in the midst of her Eras tour, recently traveled from Las Vegas to Melbourne, Australia for the next phase of her tour. When she arrived in Melbourne, Swift was greeted by 250 eternity roses that were gifted by Kelce, according to The Sun, which were set in a monumental round Parisian-inspired hatbox, for a total cost of $2,100. Swift soon received 250 more roses, another $2,100, after the original arrived, according to the outlet, this time in hot pink. Going along with the floral theme, Kelce also bought a handmade rose sculpture made by Paragold worth $3,100, the report added. Travis knows what she likes and is always wanting to send her lots of nice flowers, a source told The Sun. Kelce also reportedly bought gifts for the European leg of Swift's tour, including a black beret from Dior for $1,100 and a Bottega Veneta handbag worth $5,100. The two embraced on the field after the Super Bowl, the third Kelce has won with the Chiefs. "You are so magical," Swift said to Kelce, according to TMZ. "I've never been so proud in my life. I can't believe you. How did you do that? How did you do it?" Kelce has been generous elsewhere as well, as he donated $100,000 to the Reyes family, whose 8 and 10-year-old daughters were shot in the leg during the Chiefs' Super Bowl parade shooting, to support their recoveries. Taylor Swift Sydney. Every Aussie attending pop star's show is told to perform a heartwarming act. Teen dead and sister critically injured traveling to see Taylor Swift. Swifties are being called on to pay tribute to Mika Pokerye. Read more. Swiftie Mika Pokerye's final days revealed before she was killed in crash in Dubbo, NSW. Fans attending one of Taylor Swift's Sydney shows are being encouraged to wear special friendship bracelets in honor of a fellow Swiftie who died on the way to her Melbourne concert. Mika Pokerye, 16, was killed when the SUV she was traveling in with her mother and sister collided with a semi-trailer near Dubbo, in central West NSW at about 6 p.m. on Thursday. The family had been driving to Melbourne from the Gold Coast on the trip of a lifetime, to see Swift perform the Australian leg of her Eras tour. Mika's younger sister Freya, 10, was seriously injured in the crash on Dunedin Road, at Ballamore. She was airlifted to Westmead Hospital where she remains in a coma with brain injuries, a damaged pelvis and a broken leg. Their mum, Kim Litchfield, was also injured and taken to Dubbo Hospital, and has since traveled to Sydney to be by her youngest daughter's bedside. Her husband and another one of Mika's siblings are currently keeping a vigil. Swift's fans, known as Swifties, swap self-made bracelets with each other during concerts. They are being urged to make and share them in honor of Mika, with her name on them. In a post made to Taylor Swift Eras Tour Facebook page, a fan called on Swifties to wear a friendship bracelet with Mika's name. To honor them, the family is asking everyone to wear a friendship bracelet with her name so it's like she's still there. Mika is her name. I will also be handing out bracelets with her name in her honor as well. On Monday, the children's godmother Carly Fox, who organized a GoFundMe appeal, said Freya remains in a critical yet stable condition. Yes, there is the potential for this to be life-threatening, but there is also the potential for miracles and recovery. Both sisters were enrolled in the Gold Coast Youth Theatre Academy. Ms. Fox paid tribute to Mika, describing her as smart and creative, whose life was cut short too soon. She's been a Taylor Swift fan for over 10 years, and she loved maths, she loved pottery, she was always making people things with pottery and going to classes, she wrote. NSW police said in a statement that the crash is under investigation. A report will be prepared for the coroner. Taylor Swift mural appears in Surrey Hills, lashed by locals. A huge tribute to Taylor Swift has popped up in Sydney ahead of her 3 shows in the harbour city, but not everyone is a fan. A huge Taylor Swift mural has popped up in Sydney ahead of the star's arrival for her 3 shows, but the artwork has been lashed by locals, who say it looks more like Donald Trump or a MAFS contestant. The large portrait of Swift is on Crown Street in Surrey Hills and portrays her wearing a red wrap dress, with her eyes angled downward. Locals were not immediate fans of the piece, with unsolicited reviews pouring in online after the @Sydney_explained Instagram page shared it online. I am trying my best to not hate on all things Tay-Tay, but this just takes the proverbial. Another person thought it was Trump, due to the chin and nose, while someone else said it looked like a MAF's wife. It looks like my cat ate a rainbow lorikeet and then threw up on the wall, a man wrote. Many of the comments ranged from calling it a little bit scary to having kinda done her dirty. Taylor Swift issues PSA about getting creative with surprise songs, delivers Come Back, Be Here, and Daylight mashup. Swift previously told fans she's given herself permission to repeat songs she's already played this tour for the Trek's international leg, which she's currently on, but she's still set on bringing some element of chaos to her nightly song choices. That was to challenge me to really get to all the ones that I just don't naturally gravitate towards, and I feel really proud about having done that, Swift said at her Melbourne, Australia, show on February 18, referring to her original plan to avoid surprise song repeats throughout the tour. But this is sort of a public service announcement to everyone who might be anywhere else on the tour, or whatever, or watching this. We have a lot of people, we're very lucky to have a lot of people watch this on the internet and care about these shows if they're not here, she continued. I've just been kind of rethinking, and I've been thinking I want to be as creative as possible with the acoustic set moving forward. Swift tried to explain further, I don't want to limit anything, and I don't want to just say like, oh, if I played a song before, I can't play it again. I don't want to take any paint colors out of the paint box of colors, the pop star said. I don't want to take any tools out of the toolbox. What's the metaphor I'm looking for? I want to be able to play songs more than once if I feel like it, and I want to be able to make changes to songs. In other words, continue to expect the unexpected during the acoustic section of Swift's shows. Swift combined Come Back, Be Here, from her Red era with Lover closing track, Daylight, at Melbourne Cricket Ground on February 18, a day after performing a mashup of Getaway Car, August, and The Other Side of the Door. Swift has wrapped her Melbourne shows and heads to Sydney for 4 Eras tour dates at Accor Stadium, starting on February 23. Watch her Come Back, Be Here, and Daylight mashup below. At the concert, Swift's second surprise song was her debut era, Teardrops on My Guitar, played on piano. The A-League glimpsed its wildest dreams when Taylor Swift came to Melbourne. Sport and music came alive side by side at the weekend, with the singer showing Australian football what an empire can look like. The crowds poured out of Richmond Station, crackling with anticipation as something that had previously only existed in their wildest dreams grew into reality with every step. An evening to be remembered alongside family, friends and fellow devotees of the tribe. And that was just the fans of Melbourne City and Melbourne Victory making their way into AAMI Park for the 43rd iteration of the A-League Men's Melbourne Derby. Okay, maybe not, probably not, that the vast majority of the people disembarking at Swan Street knew that one of the A-League's premier fixtures was even on is perhaps questionable. Australia's national football competition hasn't penetrated the mainstream for on-field reasons too often these days, a blank space occupying the column inches it previously demanded at its height. Given that this collection of fans was headed to the MCG for the second night of Taylor Swift's 3 shows as part of her Eras tour, one can hardly blame them for not knowing about the match across the road. The global megastar has had the city in a spin since she touched down. Indeed, a pre-derby crowd has never been as bejeweled as the one that made its way down Olympic Boulevard on Saturday evening. Melbourne's A-League scene doesn't really have anything one would classify as a defining style beyond maybe a dark t-shirt and scarf, possibly with a bucket hat thrown in. On this evening, though, those sporting this look were lost in a sea of sequins, cowboy boots and hats, and friendship bracelets. So many friendship bracelets. There was something fun, if not outright ebullient, about the contrast between the two groups walking alongside one another, with divergent destinations but nonetheless bonded by community and joy. It also quickly became apparent there was a healthy crossover between the two groups in the number of sporting jerseys being worn. One cohort in the sky or navy blue of City and Victory, while the other decked out in the deep red of the Kansas City Chiefs with Kelce 87 inches emblazoned across the back. In theory, the city's famous sporting precinct by the Yarra was a hub of activity at the weekend. On Friday, Western United hosted the Newcastle Jets at AAMI Park, John Aloisi and his side picking up a rare 2-0 win, while across the road Grammy-nominated artists Matchbox 20 performed at Rod Laver Arena.
Beyond the derby at Amy Park, Saturday also saw the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix close out an NBL season to forget with a 122-67 thrashing at the hands of the Sydney Kings at John Cain Arena, capping off something of a cruel summer in which they finished bottom of the rankings.
In reality, though, the weekend was all about Swift. You couldn't hear her performance from Amy Park on both nights. Something of a wall of noise was discernible to the 2,947 fans present for United's win over the Jets, but the sound created by the 20,877 on Saturday drowned out any hopes of a free concert, but her presence was still ubiquitous. Western United's Charbel Samoun and Luke Vickery arrived 4 hours early to the ground for fear of being caught up in the crowds, while City had investigated turning Saturday evening's contest into a doubleheader by playing their women's game against Adelaide before the derby, only to discover that suitable accommodation options had been exhausted. The paltry crowd on Friday night suggested United's attempts to lure parents, partners and chaperones from outside the MCG to the football with free tickets did not have the desired effect. Most sporting teams would probably give their right arm to tap into what Swift and her team have fastidiously built and maintained over the years, few things able to inspire the same kind of devotion and maintain the same kind of connection with their fanbase on the scale that the 34-year-old musician has. Australian football can lay claim to coming close through the love the Matildas have inspired, with one sellout crowd after another. While the NFL got a taste just last week, the Swift effect, credited with helping Super Bowl 58 become the most watched program in U.S. television history. For now, though, the A-League can only hope that it will soon emerge from out of the woods and get on a similar path. There is a good reason why people choose not to support The Guardian. Not everyone can afford to pay for the news right now. That's why we choose to keep our journalism open for everyone to read. If this is you, please continue to read for free. But if you can, then here are 3 good reasons to make the choice to support us today. 1. Our quality, investigative journalism is a scrutinizing force at a time when the rich and powerful are getting away with more and more. 2. We are independent and have no billionaire owner controlling what we do, so your money directly powers our reporting. 3. It doesn't cost much, and takes less time than it took to read this message. Choose to power The Guardian's journalism for years to come, whether with a small sum or a larger one. Choose to support open, independent journalism on a monthly basis. Thank you.